are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Another week here at Locked On Spurs, and we welcome you back. Hey, this is Jeff Garcia with Locked On Spurs, your host, and with Ken's 5 San Antonio. Hope you had a good weekend and ready for another work week. We'll hopefully make the pain of a Monday go by a little easier and discuss your favorite topic, the silver and black. What are we talking about today? We're going to be looking at aren't you glad the Spurs dodged a bullet with Ben Simmons? Remember that whole mess at the beginning of the season? Talk about Ben Simmons, Spurs, and celebrate somebody's birthday. I don't know, some guy named Tim Duncan, going back in history in the vault and look at some of his best moments as we celebrate Tim Duncan's birthday here at Locked On Spurs. And as Pop says, no Duncan, no titles. That is absolutely true. Who is going to be celebrating the birthday with me? That is Joe Garcia, Two Shots Podcast, who, by the way, has one of the most high-tech refrigerators I've ever seen, Joe. Welcome to Locked On Spurs.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Yeah, you wanted to see the fancy fridge the other night. You were here watching the fights with me. So there you go.
Yeah, Joe was kind enough to let me stop by his house over the weekend, and we take a look at the UFC fights. How do you even know they're USFL? Like, I forgot about that whole thing. Joe, you had the USFL game. If you've never been to Joe Garcia's house, first of all, you're missing out because his man cave is phenomenal. He has TVs. Like, he has a projector. How many TVs you got in there? You got a projector and 3 TVs, I
Five.
think?
No, I got
Yeah,
5.
5?
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 in the projector.
It's totally a man cave. Fridge. He has a fridge in there, 3D printer, your setup, everything. And then I needed why did we go to your we needed some ice. That's right. We needed
Yeah,
to
you
get some
wanted
ice. Yeah, we go, and then Joe goes, "Hey, look at my new refrigerator." And I was trying to do, I was trying to get on Spotify because yes, Joe has Spotify on his refrigerator. No joke. And I was gonna try to start playing. I was looking for Locked On Spurs so I can play one of our episodes we've done in the past to see how it sounds. But it's too fancy for me, Joe. I would have, if I blessed with it more, I think I would have blown it up with my
You
luck.
probably would have, man. You and tech don't go hand in hand, man.
No, not at all. But it's yeah, nice fridge, man. By the way, follow Joe on Twitter at Two Shots Podcast, and we'll talk a lot more about Two Shots and what's coming on his neck of the woods in a while. But you know what? Your man cave would have been a perfect setting to celebrate Tim Duncan's birthday. Just have all
Yeah,
the video clips playing of him. It's
yeah,
it's
we could
Duncan's
have had his
birthday,
best
man.
dunk. Yeah, we could have had one of his best dunks or several of his best dunks playing as we did the show, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, let's talk about that. Yes, Tim Duncan's birthday, and as Popovich has always said, Joe, no Duncan, no titles. I mean, it's simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is as simple as that. We didn't have Tim Duncan. Would the Spurs have beat the Phoenix Suns, with the infamous three-pointer
Yeah.
that Duncan shot and made to send the game into double overtime and thus saving the series. And now actually the momentum swing
Mhm.
was now back into the Spurs' favor. So, I mean, we wouldn't have had that dramatic shot, nor would we have had the infamous block on James Harden by one
Yep.
Tim Duncan. We had one with Manu Ginobili, but let's not forget the one that Tim Duncan had as well.
5-time NBA champion, a 2-time NBA MVP, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, 15-time NBA All-Star, all defensive teams for 13 consecutive seasons, a Hall of Famer, voted one of the top 50 greatest players ever to play in that recent at the All-Star game when they announced it. That's that famous video of Tim Duncan kind of fake waving to a fake crowd. Remember that?
I love that, man. I love that.
There is no doubt that he was bound for the Hall of Fame and he's there. You look at Tim Duncan's career and he played in an era of Kobe Bryant, Shaq, other Jason Kidd and everything. But, his resume is probably better than a lot of those guys, even Shaquille O'Neal, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you look at all the accolades that he has and the hardware to go with it. I mean, let's not forget, too, he was a 3-time Finals MVP, 15-time All-Star,
Yep.
and he was a 2000 NBA All-Star MVP. He was a back-to-back MVP in 2002, 2003, Rookie of the Year for
Mhm.
97-98 season, 10-time NBA All-Star first team, 8-time NBA All Defensive first team, and NBA All Rookie first team. And to go with all this, we're forgetting one important thing. Olympic medalist. He won the bronze with Team USA
Mhm.
in '04. So I mean, he's done it all,
Yeah.
and like you said, I mean, he was named one of the top, players in the NBA's 75th
Yep.
anniversary, top 75. So, you know.
Yeah. Tim Duncan's done a lot, and obviously, everybody's in San Antonio or the NBA world is celebrating Tim Duncan's birthday, and that's what we're doing right here on Locked On Spurs with Joe Garcia. Joe, what Duncan meant for this franchise, was extraordinary. Dare I say, Joe, the first real megastar of the Spurs history, because there was Robinson before him and Iceman. You think Duncan was the first megastar for this team?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Hmm.
I think David Robinson was kind of one of the players that kind of paved the way for Tim as far
Hmm.
as being, that uh, transgender kind of type of player where
Yeah.
they go ahead and they're in the public eye as far as getting into commercials, because you remember the infamous commercials with David Robinson back in his heyday with
Remember
Nike. It
the
was great.
you remember Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. I mean, those were great, and with David Robinson kind of signing with Nike and everybody, from San Antonio excited about David Robinson, then seeing a Spur in these types of commercials, getting
Mhm.
national attention. It was great. And then you have that personality with Tim Duncan, you know, which is just stone cold, just stonewalled,
Mhm.
no emotion whatsoever. Then everybody's always laughing because of the way he used to dress, even going to get his MVP
Yeah,
trophies.
and
He just didn't
shorts.
really care.
Shorts
Yeah.
and sandals.
All that stuff was great. You loved Tim Duncan. The commercials that you saw with him as well, where they show him with the phone, the infamous commercial with
Mhm.
him just picking up the phone, and that kind of, showing his personality. I mean, Tim Duncan just put San Antonio on the map for, good reason. I mean, with him and David and Tony and Manu, I mean, all eyes were in San Antonio when they were in their prime, going on a tear. They were always in the conversation, Jeff. Are they going to win it this year? I
Mhm.
miss those days. I miss those days.
Yeah, yeah, and with Duncan, it was pretty much cemented. The moment the Spurs drafted him, it was a no-brainer. Goes number one overall. And almost immediately, I mean, makes an immediate impact. Maybe it was just 1 year removed from his rookie season, but then they 99, his first title, first to five, against the Knicks in the finals, and just devastated the New York defense. You go then to the titles against the Pistons, how crucial he was. That you look back at Tim Duncan's finals opponents. I think that Pistons team was tough. Took San Antonio to 7 games. Remember Duncan got robbed of a quad double. He could have had a quad double in the NBA Finals against the Pistons.
That was due to
But
the stats guy. That was due to the stats guy making an error.
right, well, he was off by what, like a block and a rebound or something like that,
It
right?
was a rebound. He got a
It was a
rebound,
rebound.
but they didn't give him credit for the rebound.
Yeah.
I think it was a
And
a rebound or it was an assist, something like that.
yeah. And here's the thing too, um, you talk about that quiet superstar, and he wasn't, Shaq, his contemporary back in the day, being brash and talking smack in the media. He let his play do the talking. But when he retired, little by little, players started coming out saying maybe Tim Duncan wasn't so Mr. Quiet. There's the stories about how Duncan would tell opposing players how to defend him, like literally tell him like, no, no, make me go this way, and he'll still get the best of him. He was very a low key trash talker. He didn't come out and start cussing, but he would come out and say, "Got you, got that, missed me. You couldn't get me here." I mean, Kevin Garnett talked about it too when he retired, saying that Duncan was just so, unflappable. You couldn't get to his head. Joe, do you think you look at Tim Duncan and what he meant for this team, this franchise, coming back one season to help coach. We forget about his coaching season. By the way, he's undefeated as a coach. He stepped in for
True
Pop.
that.
He's 1-0. But, you know, it just goes to show you what type of player that needs to be in San Antonio for this new generation of players or the new generation of this franchise to get back to the top. It takes that type of player in a Spurs uniform to rise to the crop. And I think that's where some Spurs fans, current Spurs fans, you know, I get it. They like the squad that is right now, but none of these guys that are on the roster are at the Tim Duncan level, are they, Joe?
There's not a bona fide superstar on this
Yeah.
squad. Not yet. I don't know what the future holds as far as the team making some moves and maybe
Hmm.
adding a bona fide NBA superstar, somebody who can take over the game and dominate the game, much in the fashion as Tim Duncan has. And might I say, Tim Duncan came into the league as a rookie of the year, and instantly made this team better.
Hmm.
And you know what, Jeff? There was no G League at the time. He was just thrown
Hmm.
into the fire, and I think that's one thing that Spurs fans at some point, they have a debate about. Should the team be wasting time
Hmm.
putting some of these, rookies over in the G League, or should they just throw them into the fire and let them learn,
Hmm.
tough love mentality. It just goes to show, at some point in time that players like Tim Duncan, they were NBA ready right out the gate. I mean,
Right.
they're good. It could say that, not to say that it couldn't happen in today's league, but a lot of teams like to go ahead and kind of season their players, their rookies, by giving them some time to develop over in the G League. But there is something to say about just putting some of your better players, if in fact they are a very high pick,
Hmm.
into the fire and letting them learn and get that NBA experience so they can be NBA ready. I mean, there's a debate about that, and I get that, but
Hmm.
I mean, Tim Duncan is one of these players where you look and you look at the past and all the things that he's done, and not only that, but you look at the supporting cast that he had around him as well. And
Right.
these were some really good teams that San Antonio put together. Right now, they're kind of we're in a flux. The team is in a flux. They're in a rebuilding kind of phase. Retooling or let's say reloading.
Right.
The younger core is looking good and all that, but DeJounte, he's a Robin. He needs his Batman. Let's see what happens in the upcoming NBA draft. I doubt that there's going to be a Tim Duncan like player in there, but there
Hmm.
are some very good picks, especially if you go and look at the top of the draft. Maybe 1 through 5, you might get somebody that can instantly make your team better. And let's see what the
Hmm.
Spurs do. There's no Timmy here, but there could be somebody else that could be good.
Yep, we're celebrating Tim Duncan's birthday right here on Locked On Spurs, and we're gonna have some fun later on the show talking about Ben Simmons and San Antonio. No, we're not gonna start those rumors up again, but you'll see where we're going with this. But hey, look, as Joe cringes already, our next partner has a product I literally use every day. I started taking AG1 because I wanted a supplement that actually tasted good, and I wanted to see what the hype was all about. And let me tell you right now, it is worth the hype. Yes, it lives up to it. It doesn't take like it's some sort of super healthy, cringy kind of drink. No, it's really, really good. It has a mild tropical taste. I actually look forward to taking it each morning. So, what is this stuff? So, you just basically take one delicious scoop of AG1 and you're absorbing 75 high quality vitamins and minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This is a special blend of ingredients, supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging, everything. Yes, AG1 does all that. I use it simply because I wanted help with a little bit more boost, a little more energy boost. I like the simplicity about it. Just one scoop, water, mix, drink. Simple as that. And yeah, I have family and friends asking me, what is that stuff you're drinking? I tell them it's AG1. Helps me stay healthy. It's lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat the keto diet, the paleo diet, the vegan diet, dairy free or gluten free, what have you, it works well with it. Contains just less than 1 gram, excuse me, no GMOs of sugar, by the way. No, doesn't have less, yeah, contains less than 1 gram of sugar. No GMOs, no tasty chemicals or artificial anything, all while still tasting good. And it also supports better sleep quality. People, they take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with a high quality ingredients that will absorb into your body. And that's exactly what AG1 does. It has small micro habits with big benefits, as we just told you a little while ago. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews, and it costs you less than $3 a day if you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. And for every purchase, AG1 donates to organizations helping to get nutritious food to kids in need. including No Kid Hungry here in the United States. Yeah, right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NBA network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. We're back with Joe Garcia with Two Shots Podcast, and we're celebrating Tim Duncan's birthday right here on Locked On Spurs. Joe, before a little break right there, I was going to ask you. We know Tim Duncan, and the Spurs Mount Rushmore players. He's got to be number one. Um, who would you put number two?
That's a tough one, man, because I'm very particular to the Iceman because I mean George Gervin back in his day, I mean that finger roll and everything he was
Mm-hmm.
able to do for the franchise. I mean, I would like to put him second, but then you have Tim Duncan who actually helped the team. I mean, Tim Duncan, David Robinson who actually helped the team get
Mm-hmm.
one of their first chips, in '99 alongside Tim Duncan. So for that reason, I'd have to put David Robinson number two, but Iceman would definitely be there number three.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got Duncan one, Robinson number two, and more so because it was under David's watch where the franchise could have left.
Yeah.
The Spurs were dangerously close to leaving San Antonio and relocating, and Robinson came in and helped them. Obviously, with helping win games. Taking friendly deals, hometown discounts and whatnot. And I obviously got Ice number three because he's the OG when it comes to stars in silver and black uniforms. But talking about Tim Duncan, though, you mentioned one of the games, that Phoenix game where he hit that 3-point shot. I was actually there, and I think the arena was still called the SBC Center.
Yeah.
And I went with my father, and we were sitting there and we watch it. And I remember the entire arena going bananas, going nuts when he hit that shot. Everybody leapt up out of their seat. You see Tim Duncan pumping his fist. My dad was sitting there in his seat still, just in disbelief, like what just happened? Like what just happened? That has to be one of my favorite moments of Tim Duncan on the court. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, that one and the other one that I like too was like I said, I love the block on Harden, to end the game. I mean, that was beautiful. He let him go by and then he was able just to go ahead and get the block on him. And one of the other moments that I vividly remember that was kind of bittersweet was Tim Duncan's final game. Um,
Yep.
and him just going and leaving the court and just, we just saw his back and him kind of putting his hand in the air, that was bittersweet, because you
Hmm.
knew that was happening. It was against our rival at the time, which was OKC.
Hmm.
One of probably the other moment that I really enjoyed was Tim Duncan when he won his chip, and he just embraced his kids, and he was just crying there with his kids. That was very touching, because he had his daughter and his son with him.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I loved all that, I mean, and the other thing that I really liked was something that happened recently. This, like you were alluding to this year, that fake smile and that the fake shenanigans of him waving to the imaginary crowd behind, using the green screen behind him and all that. Beautiful, man. I love
That
that
was
about
fun.
Tim
Yeah.
Duncan. That humor that he has, it's
Yeah.
really funny, but it's just low key funny.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at some of the numbers he did. In his rookie season, Joe, 21.1 points per game. It's just incredible. 11.9 rebounds per game, 2.7 assists per game, nearly 3 blocks a game, Joe, 2.5, and shot 55% from the field. That was his rookie season, which was an all-star season as well. He was an all-star his rookie year. As far as his scoring is concerned, his best scoring season was actually in 2001-02, nearly 26 points per game, 25.5, and just amazing. Again, 2.5 blocks, 12.7 rebounds per game, Joe, and played every single game, all 82 games, all 82 games. So yeah, you look at that, and it's you look at some of the defensive numbers, he for his career now. 10.8 rebounds per game, Joe. I mean, 2.2 blocks per game, nearly a steal a game. Joe, one of the biggest knocks I have about Tim Duncan, not him personally, but just what never happened for him, was that he was never named Defensive Player of the Year. To me, that is just a travesty.
It is, but it's the NBA, man. I mean, they do dumb things like that. So
About the league right now.
yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really surprise me that he was never named, the defensive player of the year. I mean, he was deservingly so. He could have been easily named the defensive player of the year. Same thing with, everybody was claiming at that time Bruce Bowen should be in the running as well. But I'm like,
Hmm.
eh, there were other players that played a little bit better defense than one Bruce
Hmm.
Bowen. So I see the argument by Spurs fans. But yeah, I mean, Tim Duncan, I mean, not being named defensive player of the year is a travesty.
Yeah, and then you look at towards the end of his career, excuse me. Let's go to the last 3 seasons before he called it a day. That 2013-14 season, that was the third to the last season, still serviceable. His decline is already there already. You see it. It's 15.1. He was still doing 15.1 points per game in his third to last season. He played 74 games that season, averaged about 1.9 blocks. He will still be the defensive beast and nearly 10 rebounds per game. And he played 74, as mentioned. Now you look at 2014-15, his second to last season, still serviceable. 14 points per game, 2.0 blocks per game, still bringing the defensive side, 9.1 rebounds, played 77 games. And then in his final season, that's where the tires fell off. Seeing him play 61 games, 8.6 points per game. Yeah, 2.7. He was still doing 2.7 blocks per game. That's crazy. I'm sorry, 2.7 assists and 1.3 blocks per game, and played 61 games. He actually came off the bench for one game that season. No people don't know that. He came off the bench for one game that season. But all in all, a storied career, pretty much holds a ton of Spurs records, NBA records. You look back, Joe, and it's a shame the league didn't put him front and center because he is the poster child of what the NBA wants. A quiet superstar, doesn't get any trouble off the court, uh, puts up good numbers, wins titles, and brings it each and every day. Like you said, Joe, it's a popularity contest, and Tim Duncan was in the era of Kobe and Shaq and Jason Kidd and a bunch of other flashy players. And Tim Duncan didn't get his though when it comes to y- y- you know exposure as far as being one of the most popular players.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And let's not forget what happened in the year of the off season in 2000. That's when Tim Duncan was flirting with that notion of possibly leaving
Oh
the San
yeah.
Antonio Spurs for the Orlando Magic. It was so bad. Remember, in fact, they had to call in David Robinson, who was on vacation
Hmm.
in Hawaii, and they had to get him on on a plane and fly him back home so he could go ahead and have a heart to heart with Timmy. But the deal killer in this whole thing was Tim Duncan asked if he could have his wife on the plane, and they said no, and that was it, you
That
know?
did it. Yeah.
That
Way to
was
go,
it.
Doc. You saved the franchise for San Antonio. Yeah,
Yeah,
and, and you mentioned Robinson again. Another reason why Robinson is so important for the franchise because he talked Tim Duncan off the ledge a little bit from
yeah,
bolting. But can you imagine? Can you imagine if he had left? Oh my goodness, Joe, that would have been just devastating for this team.
it would have been devastating, but it would have been the formation of like a almost like a super team in Orlando. He would have been playing with with T-Mac, and
Do you think he would have been booed in San Antonio if he did? I think he would
oh,
have.
man,
I think
I
he
think
would
he
have.
would've,
Yeah.
it would've the city would have been heartbroken, but it was just foreshadowing what was to happen with the Deuce, number 2, which we don't speak of.
Yeah, and think about it too. If he had left San Antonio to Orlando, that would have been like the early notions of the super teams,
Yeah.
joining together. Like you had the Heatles with Miami and LeBron and Bosh and Wade. You're seeing, a debacle, but at least early in the season, what's going on in Brooklyn with Kyrie and KD, James Harden for a bit until he left. Yeah, I mean, he would have been, part of that first. beginnings of the super teams, the modern super teams. But yeah, I mean, good thing he stayed. Hindsight's 2020, and it definitely worked out for him. Titles just kept on coming in, and it would have been interesting. I don't think he would. I think he probably would have gotten a title in Orlando, but I don't think he would have gotten multiple titles as he did in San Antonio,
Yeah,
because
because I
T
mean,
Mac T Mac was already getting busted up a lot. Grant Hill, wasn't the same Grant Hill we saw in Detroit. So I think he probably would have gotten one maybe, but not as many in San Antonio. But yeah, that's really interesting. What Spurs fans would have turned their back on him, in those lone Orlando Magic visits to San Antonio and probably booed him. I think they boo him. I think they would have booed him. It would have been
yeah,
pretty bad.
yeah, it was the days before the social media took off, so we
Hmm.
wouldn't have seen the burning of the jerseys on Twitter or Facebook or anything. But I'm
Yeah.
sure Spurs fans would have been very upset.
Oh yeah. It would have been interesting. Yeah, but Tim Duncan, first round pick, number one overall in 1997, a no brainer. It's just so interesting to see like that stroke of luck the Spurs got, and the Spurs need that type of luck in the future, whether it be in the draft or bringing in a top tier NBA free agent, because the Spurs prove that that's what it takes to win. You need a megastar at the level of Tim Duncan, a player that's going to put you on his back and carry you to the promised land. Not knocking any of these young kids that are on the roster right now, but they're not that. They're definitely not that Tim Duncan top tier player. And, it really just puts things into perspective, what the Spurs team is lacking right now. Who knows? But Joe, maybe DeJounte, this is just the beginning of something even better for next season. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Maybe.
wanted to also mention one thing too that we kind of forget as fans, but I remember vividly is there was one time I don't know what year it was. I think it might have been. Oh man, I don't. I'm trying to guess the year, but I don't really remember what year it was off the top of my head. But I remember Tim Duncan had like these kicks. I mean, they were just fire when they came out. I remember it was
Hmm.
all buzz in the NBA. It was a special edition that he wore
Hmm.
for a game, and it was played in October, the month of October. And remember, they were Adidas, but they were all black, and they had like the bones for the feet painted on them, and then at the bottom of the soles, they had you could see the bones at the bottom of the shoe as well. Those were fire, man. And if you can
Man,
find them now, they're worth a lot of
I don't
money.
remember those. Were
Yeah, I
those, were
remember
they? I
those.
think. Wait a minute. Maybe I do. Were they Reebok?
No, they were Adidas. That was
They
his
were
brand.
Adidas.
Yeah. You know
Man,
what?
no,
You know
yeah,
what? Since we're kind of doing this, I think I'm gonna share my
yeah.
screen with you. Then that way I can
All right,
show you
sure,
this. You can
sure.
see it, man.
Everybody gonna get a glimpse of the shoes right now.
There you
As
go.
Joe gets that ready for
Yeah,
everybody.
it's ready for you, man.
Hey,
Just
let's let it in.
there you go. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's
I
there.
will do it right now.
You are Locked On Spurs.
The wrong button, Joe.
Well,
um, let's see. Let's see.
there it
There we
is.
go.
Those are the
Look at
shoes,
that.
man.
Man, those are some nice shoes. I totally don't remember those, but okay.
Yeah, I was telling you, man. These are like the best shoes, man.
I see the skulls or like the skeleton hands at the bottom. Is that them?
Yeah. Yeah, that's them right there. I mean, you're looking at them right here. These are the shoes, you can see the bones of the feet. You can see them on there, right? And at the bottom, you see the bones protruding, sticking out right there.
Did it tell you the name of that shoe? That Tim Duncan shoe?
I
Was it the
don't know
Tim
the name
Duncan?
of the shoe. You gotta look it up, but it's there. I mean, they were special edition, you know, kicks that he wore for that game. I don't know if he wore them all for the month of October or was it just like, for
Yeah.
certain games, but everybody was talking about him. I mean, they made quite a buzz
Nice.
in the league when he was wearing those. I was like, "Man, those are nice."
Nice. Nice. Yeah, definitely gotta look for those. And you know, another thing about Tim Duncan I loved, he was a big nerd. He was a big nerd. He for those kids that are not old enough to remember, and I think y'all might be. But remember, Joe, he was on the cover of a Punisher comic book.
Oh, yeah, I remember that because he was
Yep,
big into the Punisher.
yep. And he in his comic character created a new car or vehicle for the Punisher because Tim Duncan's into cars. He's into muscle cars. So that was great to see. Loves video games. So, and yeah, I'm a nerd. Joe, you're a nerd, and just another reason why we liked him because of that aspect of his game, of his personality. Just kind of a quiet, low key guy, and but got work done on the court. And yeah, happy birthday, Tim Duncan. Joe, any other favorite moments of Tim Duncan as we celebrate his birthday here?
Oh, the other moments that I love with Tim Duncan, I mean, how can you not love the Spurs HEB commercials? Those were fire, man.
Yeah. The HEB commercials with Tim Duncan were really, really good. And yeah, I always say the early versions of the HEB commercials were the best ones. The
Yeah.
ones that were today, they're kind of like, sure,
They're
yeah,
watered down, man. The ones from
they're
back in
watered
the day were
down. Yeah.
better, yeah.
Yeah, but for the Tim Duncan era, yeah, when he would go on there, yeah, they would be hilarious. And we're talking with Joe Garcia right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to take a quick moment to talk to you about Built Bar. It's that time of year where, yeah, maybe you've fallen off your New Year's resolution train, trying to get healthy. Well, Built Bar is here to put you back on track. It's a good solution to eat right, and you can thank Built Bar. It almost feels like you're not really eating a candy. I mean, it feels like you're eating a candy. That's what I meant to say, and not a health bar. But they're actually really good for you. They have a new puff, a Built Bar puff, which is basically a protein-infused marshmallow, fluffy, marshmallowy, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. They are a treat. Puffs are becoming a fan favorite. They got incredible flavors of churro flavors, cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They're going to be your new favorites once you get a hold of a box of these new Built Bars. Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, as I mentioned, even the puff, 100% real chocolate. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They are better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Just go to built.com right now, scroll down to the macros chart. You'll be blown away. Guarantee it. High protein, low cal, high fiber, low carb. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. That is it. Compare that to a candy bar, which has about 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar. Yeah, you don't want any of that in your system. Mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookie and cream. They are all delicious. New flavors are coming out all the time. Again, you're going to find your new favorite flavor of Built Bar. I promise you that. They are delicious and they're good for you. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know, they pull it off every time. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCK15, get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. We're back with Joe Garcia right here on this Monday episode of Locked On Spurs. It's going to wrap up our little talk about Tim Duncan and his birthday. He's still around the team, Joe. He's still giving pointer to the kids, helping them learn. He still works out. He's still in shape, Joe, because you don't want to get a scrap with him, man. He loves MMA, doesn't he?
Yeah, man, he does a lot of kickboxing. In fact, my buddy Taro Katani he took in a session with Tim Duncan's kickboxing instructor, and that was kind of a grueling workout for Taro, and Taro likes to do all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you definitely don't want to mess with Timmy, man. He's got some game to him, man, when it comes to, his kickboxing fighting
Yeah.
style.
Yeah. And, the city, San Antonio, the Spurs franchise, especially, owe a debt of gratitude to him. Again, you can't repeat this enough. As Pop says, no Tim Duncan, no titles. Simple as that. Popovich still says that they give Tim Duncan a salute, a toast every time they have dinner. Because it was him, he's the one who was the glue that whole year. Sure, there was Tony and there was Manu, but you know, Tim was still that type of megastar, that rare star that when he saw that it was Tony Parker's time to shine, he stepped aside, just as Robinson stepped aside for Duncan, and he let Tony take over.
Yeah.
And then that's where you had the 2007 finals against the Cavs, where it was Tony Parker that won the Finals MVP, not Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
So all in all, good, just a damn good player that the Spurs and the city of San Antonio were fortunate to witness for decades play on that court in San Antonio, whether it be at the Alamo Dome or the SBC Center, which turned into the AT&T Center. So here's to you, Tim Duncan. Happy birthday, and here's to many, many more. Joe, let's we're looking back at Tim Duncan's play and his what he meant for the city. Let's look back at the beginning of the season, even before that, or last season, I should say now, in the preseason. Joe, I thought Spurs fans, at least a majority of them, wanted to see Ben Simmons in Spurs colors. Aren't you
Oh,
glad that never happened?
yeah, man. I'm I'm really glad that didn't happen. And there were a lot of arguments I remember on Spurs
Remember
Twitter.
that?
All
Yep.
those rumors were
Oh
going
my
rampant.
God.
And you had the faction of fan that said, "Let's trade everybody to get him. We need this type of player." You know what? If you would have traded for him, guess how many games he would have played for you? Zero. You know,
That's just a
you
mess,
would have
man.
you would have given up the most of your team and possibly some picks for what? For somebody to sit on the bench and just be a spectator. I mean, the kid, I mean, he got no heart, man. I mean, he's a soft player, man. I mean, you would think you'd want to come out and help your team, especially when they need you. And no, I woke up with back soreness. Oh man, dude.
Oh yeah,
The
forget
kid's
about that.
damaged goods, man.
It's just all in his head, man. It's just all in his head. I think
Mhm.
maybe he
Question his
tapped
heart.
out.
Question his heart, man. He doesn't want to play. That's it, plain and simple. And the funny thing is because of things like this, that Ben Simmons has done and some of these other players have done, it questions what's going to happen when the players and the owners meet again. I'm sure that the owners are going to say, you know what, we're not playing you guys to just sit out games. That's ridiculous. That means that the owners are basically not making any money because when you go ahead and buy a ticket, and it's not just to see a game in your hometown, but let's say uh, players in a neighboring city, they want to see their best players out there on the court, and well, he's not playing, so it's affecting revenue across the board. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, when the players and the owners have that meeting once again. Something's going to change. They're going to call it the Ben Simmons rule, or what are they going to call it, Jeff?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like that. Yeah, because he's pretty much getting paid to do nothing. And look, it's not just fans that are calling him out. It's former players. Reggie Miller called him out recently on Twitter, made it very public. And so, yeah, there's something there. But just can you? I'm just looking back. I'm just thinking about this right now. Just can you imagine if the Spurs did pull that trigger?
Yeah,
Pull that
no,
trigger.
I don't
You
wanna
know,
imagine that. I was hoping that
good lord.
that's the rumor that would not die, you
Because
know?
remember, the Philly wanted a haul, so it wasn't
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be just D Murray. It was going to be a couple of other players. Maybe a Derek White, maybe some picks. Yeah,
Maybe
so
DeJounte, you know?
maybe DeJounte. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, whew, Spurs definitely dodged a bullet there. Oh man, yeah. Now, hey, it's all Brooklyn's problem now. Let them
Yeah.
deal with it. Let them deal with it. But yeah, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Tim Duncan as you want to celebrate his birthday, as we're doing right here on Locked On Spurs? Let us know your favorite moments with Tim Duncan playing on or off the court, whether it be his off the court HEB commercials, as Joe mentioned, or would it be on the court? Dunking over everybody, winning titles, clamping down on everybody and just guiding this franchise to 5 NBA titles. For a small market, that ain't too bad. And of course, let us know what you think about Ben Simmons, DeJounte Murray rumors. Yeah, that was a thing early in the season. Yeah, that almost could have happened. So we definitely want to hear from you. Joe, tell us what's going on with Two Shots.
Well, with Two Shots, we're actually working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. We're probably gonna wind up revamping the show and actually bringing a lot more coverage, not only within the world of sports, but in the world of entertainment as well. So
Mhm.
keep an eye out for that. I did buy a new domain. I'm not gonna say what it is yet, but
Ooh,
we are working on some
keep
some
that.
big things, some big things.
Looking forward to that. Another reason why you got to follow Joe on Twitter at Two Shots Podcast. So when he does reveal the big reveal, the new domain name, be fun to catch that again. Two Shots Podcast. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Subscribe over at Stitcher, Spotify. Joe's refrigerator is going to have it. Joe, that refrigerator's too technical for me. I can't handle that.
Yeah, man. I just finished putting up some new pictures and videos and stuff to share with the family, on there.
Yeah.
And you can do everything from your phone. So yeah, Jeff, it's you just need something that has no touchscreen that you can just open and
An
close the door
icebox,
because
a good old
yeah, if it had a
icebox
touch
from back in the
screen, the
day.
whole you would touch it and the whole refrigerator would explode, man.
That's why Joe was getting nervous when we were at his place. He's like, Jeff, okay, enough. Stop pressing buttons. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. You press buttons, get away. Um, but yeah, and by the way, Lockdown Spurs is now on YouTube. The YouTube numbers are going strong. We appreciate that. Let's keep that going. And we thank you for making Lockdown Spurs your first listen each and every day. So for Joe Garcia, I am Jeff Garcia. We're gonna put a lock on this episode of Lockdown Spurs.